Hello, world. I'm Jack, and welcome to English Speaking Studio.
I'm Lucy. So what are you waiting for? Let's dive in and make learning English an unforgettable journey.
We're diving deep into something today. I think we can all relate. Sleep. Specifically, how to get more of it. And how to make the sleep we do get actually work for us.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't spent like an hour or three just staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep has totally abandoned them?
It's definitely one of those universal experiences, that yearning for a good night's sleep. And it's not just about feeling rested. Sleep impacts every single thing going on in our bodies, from brain function and mood to how well our immune system works.
So we're not just talking about a beauty tip here, right?
Right.
This is about setting ourselves up for success in every aspect of life.
Absolutely.
It's about thriving, not just surviving.
I love that. Thriving.
What's fascinating to me is we often blame stress for poor sleep.
Yeah.
But it's obviously more complicated than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are some of the less obvious reasons we might be struggling?
You hit the nail on the head. Stress is a factor, but it's often not the whole story. One of the biggest culprits is something most of us encounter daily: blue light,
Okay.
particularly from our devices.
I'm definitely guilty of scrolling through my phone before bed.
Yeah.
What's the big deal with blue light anyway? I mean, it's just light, right?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Blue light essentially hijacks your brain's natural sleep-wake cycle.
Okay.
It emits wavelengths that convince your brain it's still daytime, even when it's not.
Yeah.
This disrupts the production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle.
So even if I feel tired and ready for bed, my brain might be getting a completely different message.
Exactly. It's like telling your body to hit the brakes and the gas at the same time. No wonder it gets confused.
Yeah.
So our first sleep hack, and this one is fundamental,
Okay.
is to power down your devices at least 30 minutes before bed.
Okay.
If you absolutely must use them, activate night mode or invest in some blue light blocking glasses.
Okay, I'm taking notes. I knew screen time before bed wasn't ideal, but I never realized how much of a biological impact it has. Now let's talk about another potential sleep saboteur: caffeine.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend who swears she can chug coffee all day and sleep like a baby.
Wow.
Is she a superhuman anomaly, or is the caffeine myth more nuanced than that?
While individual sensitivity varies, caffeine definitely impacts sleep more than many people realize. The problem is, caffeine can linger in our systems for hours.
Okay.
It has a half-life of about 6 hours, meaning that even that afternoon coffee might still be affecting you come bedtime.
Wait, so if I have a cup of coffee at 4 p.m., half of that caffeine is still coursing through my veins at 10 p.m.
Precisely. So even if you don't feel wired, that caffeine might be silently disrupting your sleep cycles later in the night, impacting the quality of your rest.
That's a bit of a mind-blowing revelation. Maybe that explains why I sleep so much better when I stick to tea in the afternoons.
It's possible.
What about those of us who lie in bed exhausted but with our minds racing? How do we deal with the dreaded overthinking problem?
The overthinking trap. Our brains can struggle to switch off, especially when we finally hit the pillow.
Yeah.
It's like all the day's thoughts and worries come flooding in at once. One effective way to combat this is the brain dump technique.
Okay, I need to hear this. How do we dump our brains before bed?
Grab a notebook or use the Notes app on your phone. Just remember to activate night mode.
Yeah.
And just jot down everything that's on your mind. Don't censor yourself. Just let it all out. It's like hitting the save button on your brain, freeing up mental RAM for sleep.
So you're basically tricking our brains into thinking, okay, we've processed all that. Time to rest.
Exactly.
I love it. We've covered some major sleep saboteurs. Now let's get to the good stuff.
Yes.
The techniques that can help us fall asleep faster. I've heard rumors of techniques used by Navy SEALs and soldiers to get to sleep quickly, even in high-stress environments. Can you spill the secrets?
Absolutely, these techniques might sound surprising, but they're rooted in science and incredibly effective. Let's start with the 4-7-8 breathing method.
The 4-7-8 breathing method.
Yes.
I'm intrigued. Tell me everything.
It's incredibly simple. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for 7 seconds and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Repeat this cycle 4 times.
Okay, that sounds easy enough, but how does this simple breathing pattern actually induce sleep? It feels almost like a magic trick.
There's no magic here, just clever manipulation of your body's natural systems.
Okay.
This breathing pattern slows your heart rate and triggers your body's relaxation response. It's like a lullaby for your nervous system. And the best part, You can use it anytime, anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Feeling stressed at work, try a few rounds of 4-7-8 breathing.
Okay.
Can't fall asleep, same thing.
I'm already feeling more relaxed just thinking about it. Okay, what's our next sleep secret weapon from the world of high-stakes situations?
Get ready for this one. It's called the military sleep method, and it's reportedly used by soldiers to fall asleep quickly, even on a battlefield.
Wait, they can fall asleep in a war zone? Okay, I need to know how this works. That level of sleep mastery seems almost superhuman.
It is pretty incredible. The technique involves both physical relaxation and mental focus.
Okay.
First, relax your face completely. Let your jaw go slack, let your tongue rest. Then focus on releasing any tension in your shoulders and arms. Take a deep exhale and visualize yourself floating peacefully on a calm, still lake. Finally, repeat the phrase, don't think, don't think, don't think in your mind.
I can actually feel my eyelids getting heavy just listening to you describe it. What's the science behind this?
Okay.
It feels like a Jedi mind trick for sleep.
Think of it this way. By systematically relaxing your muscles and quieting your mind, you're essentially fast-tracking your body and mind into a state of deep relaxation, which of course is conducive to sleep.
So we're kind of hacking our nervous system to bypass all the usual mental chatter and physical tension that keeps us up at night.
Exactly. The repetition of don't think helps to break the cycle of overthinking, which is often the biggest obstacle to falling asleep.
Brilliant. I'm adding that to my mental sleep toolkit right now. It sounds like a total game changer, especially for someone like me whose brain rarely wants to shut down. What other sleep-inducing tricks do you have up your sleeve?
Let's talk about something that's less about mental tricks and more about creating the ideal sleep environment. Did you know our body temperature naturally drops as we fall asleep?
I do tend to sleep better when it's cooler. I even have a friend who swears by sleeping with the window open in the winter. Is there an ideal temperature for sleep?
Yes. The sweet spot for sleep is between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. A warmer room can make it much harder to fall asleep and stay asleep.
That explains why I'm always tossing and turning when it's too warm or finding myself sticking a foot out from under the covers.
Yeah.
My body's basically saying, too hot, gotta cool down.
Exactly. And there are a few simple hacks you can use to optimize your sleep temperature. Believe it or not, taking a warm shower before bed can actually help, as it triggers a cool-down effect afterwards.
I've heard about that, but it always seemed counterintuitive to me. So I'm actually encouraging my body to cool down after the shower.
Precisely. And another easy one, keep your feet uncovered. This allows for better heat release. You can even try a cooling pillow or mattress pad if you really want to go all out.
These are great practical tips. I'm already thinking about how I can tweak my sleep environment tonight for better sleep.
Good.
Okay, we've covered falling asleep, but what about the other side of the coin? How do we wake up feeling truly refreshed?
That's a great question. And you're right, it's just as important. It's not just about how much sleep we get, but also about the quality of that sleep and how we transition into wakefulness. Let's dive into some wake-up strategies that can set you up for a more energized day. One of the most important factors in waking up refreshed is understanding sleep cycles. You see, sleep doesn't happen in one long, continuous block. It cycles through different stages throughout the night, from light sleep to deep sleep to REM sleep, where we dream. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes.
So it's not just about hitting a specific number of hours, there's actually a rhythm to it.
Exactly. And waking up in the middle of a cycle can leave you feeling groggy, even if you've technically gotten enough sleep.
Yeah.
That's why it's ideal to aim for a sleep duration that's a multiple of 90 minutes. So 6 hours, 7.5 hours, or 9 hours, for example.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I've definitely had nights where I slept for what I thought was a decent amount of time, but still woke up feeling exhausted. Maybe I was waking up mid-cycle without realizing it.
You probably were.
So if I need to be up at 7 a.m., I should aim to fall asleep around 10 p.m., 11:30 p.m., or 1 a.m.
Precisely. It might take a bit of experimentation to find what works best for your body and schedule.
Yeah.
But syncing your sleep with those 90-minute cycles can make a big difference in how you feel when the alarm goes off.
I'm adding sleep cycle calculator to my to-do list right now.
Good idea.
So we've mastered falling asleep, and we're waking up in sync with our natural cycles. What else can we do to boost that feeling of morning refreshment?
This might seem obvious, but it's worth emphasizing. Get some sunlight first thing in the morning. And I don't just mean glancing out the window. Aim for at least 10 minutes of natural light exposure as soon as you wake up.
Okay, I'll admit I'm not always great about that. But what does sunlight actually do for us besides just feeling nice?
Sunlight is like a reset button for your internal clock, which is also known as your circadian rhythm. It tells your brain, hey, it's daytime, time to wake up and be alert.
So it's not just about energy levels, it's about recalibrating our whole system.
Right.
I'm going to challenge our listeners to try getting 10 minutes of sunlight every morning for a week and see how it affects their energy and alertness. I'm definitely up for the challenge.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's one of the simplest yet most effective ways to boost your morning energy. Speaking of things that can sabotage our energy, let's talk about the snooze button.
Oh, the snooze button. My nemesis.
I know, right?
I know it's not good for me, but I just can't seem to resist those extra few minutes of cozy warmth.
Yeah.
Why is snoozing so bad for us, even if it feels good in the moment?
Think of it this way. When you hit the snooze button, you're essentially starting a new sleep cycle that you're not going to have time to complete. This can lead to that groggy, disoriented feeling that can linger for hours, even if you've technically slept longer.
So it's like we're tricking our brains into thinking, okay, round 2 of sleep, but then we abruptly pull the plug before the cycle is complete.
Exactly. It's like reading half a chapter of a book and then trying to pick up where you left off a week later. You're going to feel lost and disoriented.
Right.
The same applies to sleep cycles.
Okay, that's a really helpful analogy. I'm thinking about those mornings when I hit snooze multiple times and then end up feeling even more exhausted. It makes so much sense now. What can we do to break the snooze button habit? Asking for a friend.
The most effective strategy. Put your alarm across the room. So you have to physically get out of bed to turn it off. It's a simple change, but it makes it much harder to crawl back into bed and surrender to the siren song of the snooze button.
Out of sight, out of mind. I love it. Okay, we've covered a lot of great tips and techniques.
We have.
But I know there are also a lot of myths surrounding sleep. It's time for some myth busting. What are some of the most common sleep-related misconceptions you hear?
One of the biggest is this idea that everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. It's so ingrained in our culture, but it's simply not true. Sleep needs vary greatly from person to person, depending on genetics, age, lifestyle, and all sorts of other factors.
So the 8-hour rule is more like a guideline than a hard and fast rule.
It is.
I've definitely felt pressure to hit that 8-hour mark, even on nights when I felt pretty rested after 7 hours.
It's important to pay attention to your body's cues. If you consistently wake up feeling refreshed and energized after 7 hours, then that's likely enough for you. But if you're dragging yourself through the day, you might need to experiment with getting closer to 8 hours or even more.
It's all about finding what works for you, not trying to fit into some arbitrary mold. I love that. What other sleep myths are out there?
Another common one is that alcohol helps you sleep. Sure, that nightcap might make you feel drowsy initially, but here's the catch.
Oh.
Alcohol disrupts your sleep cycles later in the night, preventing you from getting that deep restorative sleep that's crucial for feeling truly rested.
So it's more like a quick fix that ultimately backfired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like borrowing energy from tomorrow to use today. You might fall asleep faster, but you'll likely wake up feeling groggy and less than refreshed. It's definitely not a sustainable sleep strategy.
Okay, I'm officially debunking that myth for myself. Any other bonus sleep tips or fun sleep facts you want to share before we wrap up?
Absolutely. One final science-backed hack for falling asleep faster is listening to white noise or calming nature sounds like rain or ocean waves. These sounds can help to block out distracting noises and promote relaxation.
I love that tip. It's so simple, and there are so many great apps and websites that offer a variety of soothing sounds. You can basically create your own personalized sleep soundscape.
Okay, we've covered so much valuable information today. I feel like I'm walking away with a whole new understanding of sleep and a toolbox full of practical strategies to improve it.
That's wonderful to hear. And remember, this is just the beginning of your sleep journey. There's always more to learn and explore. But the most important takeaway is that you have more control over your sleep than you might realize. It's amazing how much of an impact sleep has on our lives, isn't it? We often take it for granted, but it truly is the foundation for our physical and mental well-being.
It's like we're finally giving sleep the respect it deserves.
Yeah.
It's not just about catching some Z's. It's about optimizing this crucial part of our lives so we can function at our best.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about practical hacks,
Right.
but I think it's also important to address the mindset shift that needs to happen.
We live in a culture that often glorifies busyness and sleep deprivation, but we're starting to see a real shift towards prioritizing well-being, and sleep is a huge part of that.
You're absolutely right. For a long time, there was almost a badge of honor associated with burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, yeah.
But thankfully, that's starting to change. People are realizing that prioritizing sleep isn't selfish. It's essential for showing up as our best selves in all areas of life.
It's like we're finally realizing we can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
We need to replenish our energy reserves through quality sleep to be truly productive, creative, and engaged.
I love that analogy. And it's not just about quantity, as we've discussed, but quality.
Yeah.
It's about creating the right environment, establishing healthy sleep habits, and understanding our individual needs.
It's about taking a holistic approach, treating sleep as an essential part of our self-care routine, not just something we squeeze in when we have time.
Exactly. And that's where the real magic happens, when we start to view sleep as an investment in our well-being rather than a luxury or an afterthought.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to one of the myths we debunked, the infamous 8-hour rule. We talk about how sleep needs vary, but for those of us who are still unsure about how much sleep we really need, are there any strategies for figuring that out?
Absolutely. The best advice I can give is to become a sleep detective. Pay close attention to your body's signals and how you feel throughout the day.
So it's about tuning in to our internal cues rather than relying on external rules.
Exactly. Start by tracking your sleep for a week or two. Note how many hours you sleep each night and how you feel when you wake up. Do you feel refreshed and alert or groggy and sluggish?
Yeah.
Also pay attention to your energy levels throughout the day. Do you hit a wall in the afternoon and find yourself reaching for caffeine? These are all clues that can help you determine if you're getting enough sleep.
So it's a process of observation and experimentation. We gather the data and then adjust our sleep habits accordingly.
That's the idea. And remember, sleep needs can change over time. If you're going through a period of stress or illness, you might need more rest than usual. Listen to your body and don't be afraid to adjust your sleep schedule as needed.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like I'm walking away with a whole new understanding of sleep and a toolbox full of strategies to improve it.
That's fantastic to hear. And remember, even small changes can make a significant difference. You don't have to implement every single hack we've discussed. Start with one or two that resonate with you and see how they impact your sleep.
It's about progress, not perfection. And who knows, maybe as you start to experience the benefits of better sleep, you'll be inspired to keep exploring and experimenting with other techniques.
Exactly. It's an ongoing journey of discovery. And the more you learn about your sleep patterns and what works best for you, the more empowered you'll feel to prioritize sleep and make it a non-negotiable part of your self-care routine.
So to our listeners, I encourage you to embrace the power of sleep. It's not a weakness to prioritize rest, it's a strength. And it's an investment that will pay off in countless ways.
It's time to reclaim sleep as the essential pillar of health and well-being that it is. And remember, we're all in this together. Share your experiences, support each other, and let's create a world where everyone can experience the transformative power of a truly good night's sleep.
What a beautiful way to wrap up our deep dive into the world of sleep hacks. We hope you feel inspired, informed, and empowered to embark on your own sleep journey. Until next time, sleep well, dream big, and live your